So whenever I have an opportunity to speak like this, right? So I have a fondness for speaking to small audience sizes. Why? Because no, not because the room is empty, right? So I've had opportunities to do keynotes as well. So, but for me, having this kind of environment, right, makes it more personable. We get to interact and we get to make it a peer review session instead of making it a session where I am the one standing here, seemingly passing off knowledge, right? I also want to be able to interact with you and then know where you guys are at, and then we can meet each other somewhere and build on that knowledge and add more to it, right? So for the people here that like do blockchain, oh, okay, blockchain, right? Developer, okay. Sorry, Adiola, are you a dev? Okay, so you write Solidity. Okay. Anybody in here write Solidity? Oh, you write Solidity. Thank you. So everybody else, I'm guessing front-end engineers, right? Okay, what do you do? Product management. Product management. Good to have you here. A round of applause for her, please. So I'm hoping that at least, even if it's just one thing that you get out of this session today, it should be of value to you some way down the line. Front-end engineer too. Okay, front-end engineer. So how about you, bro? Front-end engineer. Okay, those are you guys participating or you're just here to? Oh, you are front-end engineers? Oh, back-end engineer. Then front-end engineer too. Okay. So that means three personality types in the room. Somebody who writes Solidity, that is going to understand a whole lot of the things I'm going to be talking about. Product managers that with the knowledge that you get here today, you would get to know if your engineer is lying about his deadlines, right? And more importantly, if he can do what he says that he's going to do. And then for the front-end engineers, more importantly, being able to take this knowledge and then build the business use cases like we spoke about, right? Because I want to see how a lot more people can be able to build dashboards and then sell those dashboards, or even apply for grants with those dashboards, right? Apply for funding opportunities with those dashboards as well. So I'm just going to jump right into it, right? Should I be saying next when I need you to go to the next slide? Okay, and then we'll possibly write codes to see a response. Starting my timer so that I don't take up all your time. So my name is Emmanuel. Currently, I'm working at a company called Somnia. It's an EVM layer 1 blockchain as well. So he gets what I'm talking about, and I hope everybody else does too, right? So that is me on X. If you want to reach out, connect after this, please do, and then we can always get to interact. Next slide, please. So basically, subgraphs, right? I'm going to do something here. I'm going to move down 3 slides forward and then come back to this definition, right? Just let me do that until you get to the image. Until you get to the image slide. You passed it, yeah, there. No, move forward, yes, here. So before going back to the very beginning of this slide, right, I think I'm just going to do this. So typically, whenever I'm having conversations about technology, as against talking about it in very abstract terms, right, where we want to talk about workflows, schemas, manifests, all of those things, right, I like to first of all start with an overview of where it is that we are going to, and then come back to the very beginning to arrive back at this point. Right? Basically, a subgraph is just a service that exists between a blockchain network and a user interface, right? So your user interface could be a mobile device, it could be a laptop, and then you have the blockchain, which also here could be a database. So that means if you are building an API infrastructure, right, this would be your API layer. So, and that could be any form of DB at all, right? So, but with blockchains, um, blockchain databases being decentralized, right? So that means as against an API service where you are just, having responses from one DB environment, right? With your Subgraph service, you are able to like read data off of the entire blockchain. Sorry, guys, if you're just walking in, we just started, so we have not gone very, very far, right? So this is actually our first slide. So again, just to reiterate, you have this view, you have your user interface, which could be a laptop or a mobile device, then you have your blockchain, and then you have your layer in between, the Subgraph service. So, but for a regular API service, this could have been an API, and this could be a database. So the differentiating factor here is that, we can go back to the first slide now, right? So the differentiating factor here is that subgraphs, I need you to have that image in your mind, right? So a subgraph is an indexing service. So practically, with blockchain technology, new blocks are created depending on how fast the blockchain is. For some blockchains, every second, for some blockchain, every minute, right? So basically, once those data, those blocks of data gets created, there is no way that anyone wants to like read information on chain, and then you have to like scour the entire blockchain to see particular events that you want to get read, right? So Subgraph services serve as that. Okay, this is distracting having people walking every 2 minutes. Welcome, guys. We are just starting. Yeah. Thank you for joining us. Oh, and yeah, like I said, ladies and gentlemen, my wife is just walking. Please, if you can, help me. So she's always doing this to encourage me every time. Thank you, babe, for being here. So basically, Subgraph service exists in between the blockchain, the user interface, and then allows you to like index all of that data. And then, but the critical thing about subgraphs are that they are not meant for write operations. They are basically meant for read operations, right? And why is this important? You can think of building an application, right? Like a dashboard, like we were talking about earlier. But, typically, okay, this is getting a little bit complicated than I figured. So, sorry guys, just for those that walked in, before you walked in, we did a brief intro in the room, and then we have product managers, front-end engineers, and actually just one person that writes Solidity in the room. So I had wanted to, I'd wanted to like have a conversation about using VMJS to carry out read-write operations, and then having subgraphs like sit in that middle, and then just having read operations. So I'm just going to dive back a little bit and see if I can break it down a little. But please help me out here. It's a very small room. For those that just walked in, how many people are blockchain folks? For those that just walked in, please. No, please just raise the hand. It's fine. Yeah, thank you. Blockchain folks, for those that just walked in. Oh, thank you. You write Solidity. Rust. Okay, I don't write Rust. You write Solidity. You write Solidity. Then the other guys that walked in, any front-end engineers? What do you do, bro? Java. Fuad does Java. What is Java, please, in this context, Fuad? Oh, backend. Okay, awesome. So, before I continue, I think let me repeat something I said before the rest of you guys walked in. My primary objective for this session is this: if you don't get to walk out of this room with anything else. So there's an opportunity right now to have a data selling service solutions being built, especially with the advent of vibe coding. Right? That opportunity exists right now. So if you don't work out with anything else from this room, like let me just take 2 minutes to talk about that. So a data selling service solutions, maybe sometime in the near future, they're going to come up with a name for it, right? So that opportunity exists right now. So Subgraphs enables developers to build, dashboard services that you can take blockchain data and then sell to people that actually need it. An example I gave was, right now, you cannot get historical token data pegged against the value of that token with fiat at a given period of time. I'm trying to get your name, but I can't see it from here. What's it, please? Yes. Your name, I can't see it from here. Chidera. So, Chidera, right? So there's that opportunity, say historical price of a token at a given point in time. Say I bought Bitcoin some 2 years ago, or let me not say 2 years ago, 4 months ago, at a certain price, but I bought it using USD, not Naira. So anytime Bitcoin rises or drops, so that I don't feel some kind of ways about it, right? I don't feel like I've missed out on an opportunity or I've lost out on an opportunity, right? It is very easy for me to see the actual Bitcoin price going up, but as against the value at the set date that I bought it, it could be that I have actually not made any gains on that token. So that service does not actually exist right now. You can only see the price moving up according to time. So if somebody were to build a solution where I can see that, oh, okay, I've actually not lost any money, but although this token price has been either going up or coming down, that is like data that they have made available to me. Same way where any other smart contracts that you use for swapping, any smart contracts that you use for gaming, any smart contract that contains any piece of data that I know that could be valuable to somebody, right? And then that service, the only missing component is that nobody has actually gone in to extract that information and then made it available. That is actually the only missing component. So for everyone in this room, if at some point down the line, you find out that you are in that position where you can build a service, I mean, you just have to maybe pay for cloud or pay for ChatGPT and then tell it that, you know what, I have been able to deploy these subgraphs, but I need you to extract this data for me and then build out this kind of dashboards and explorers for me. And then I want to be able to set up a subscription service, even if it's $4 a month or $3 a month. And then your infra fees are no more than $15 or $50 a month, right? I mean, it's just an extra money on the side that you don't have to do anything else apart from the first time that you deploy the solution, right? So, but moving on to the slides. So this is a workshop, right? And I'm meant to first of all, talk to you about why we need subgraphs, the benefits and all of those things before we eventually get on to the code lab. But we have just about 19 minutes left. So, and then given what I have told you about my primary objective of what I want you to get out of this room, I think that basically covers everything that I have on here on the slides, right? From telling you about the blockchain itself being a DB, and then you having to extract data and then sell that data to people, and the key benefits. But I would want to talk about the key benefits from one perspective. And that is because why would you want to use subgraphs as against maybe building an API service or going to the Explorer itself? So with subgraph services, right? So for the blockchain itself, you can either do one out of two things. You can either read from the blockchain or write from the blockchain. And then when you write from the blockchain, that means you are spending money on gas to carry out that transaction. But with write operations, if you use regular Web3 libraries, right, you would have to make that call every single time that information gets updated. But when you set up subgraph services, right, you can have that service auto updates, and then you can add some other it's naturally faster than when you use Web3 libraries, right, to source information on chain. And then with the very specific queries that you desire from a smart contract, you can say, you know what, this is the particular piece of information that I need right now, which typically explorers and then fixed API endpoints do not provide. So going on, so this was the image that I used to give an illustration earlier for subgraphs sitting just in that sweet spot between your blockchain and then your user interfaces. So the way that subgraph work is that you don't have to really be a Web3 professional to be able to like leverage subgraphs, which is why this session is being presented as at a non-Web3 conference, right? So all you just have to understand practically is that, you know what, I am sourcing data and this data is being emitted by smart contracts. And the way that data it's saved on smart contracts, like in the blockchain space, is that we call them events. So that means if, take for instance, I want to transfer, say, 1 Bitcoin for myself to forward, right? When that transaction is completed, an event is emitted. So you can think of that event as some sort of payload that holds certain information, right? That payload could be that it is coming from this address, it is going to this address, this is the particular time that it happened, this is the amount that was transferred, and then this is the amount that was spent on gas fees, right? So when you build a subgraph, you can then decide that, you know what, out of this, in this payload, right, out of all this particular information that we are emitted, the particular 3 that I want are where it was sent from, the person that is receiving it, and then the particular amount, and then the date, right? And then you can then convert the date to human readable format. So that is how smart contracts emit events. Then you have the subgraph services that, you know, ingest these events from these smart contracts, right? And then store them in a database where you can query it from. So practically, subgraphs use the GraphQL API standard, right, to return information to user interfaces. Moving on, use cases. I already talked about building, you know, historical analytic tools where you can sell data, right? You can also build DeFi analytics tool, build gamified data, anything basically, but please, again. So the reason why I keep reiterating this is that it's quite annoying when I see guys sorry, maybe annoying is not the word I should use because I'm on camera. So it's quite hurtful when I see folks in the EU and then in the APAC region just building very simple tools, right? Very simple tools, and then they, you know, put a subscription fee on top of it, and then we then have to pay to use that. And I think we can do the same thing over here as well. The practical thing is just that you have to know what data people are willing to pay for. You really do not have to know. You just have to try and see if this is data that people are willing to pay for, ingest that data, and then want to sell to them. So going on, we are... Okay, yeah. No, we are going to skip this part and then move on to the code lab. So the code lab, I ought to have presented this for my screen, right? But unfortunately, that is not possible because we are using the organizer's PC. So what I'm going to do is that within the brief time that we have, I am just going to walk through the resource, right? And then show you the 3 critical components that anyone in this room, that once you get home, or even if you want to try it out here, you can go try and then be able to like source data from blockchains. And then you can then practically decide if you want to put that data behind a paywall or not. And I keep repeating that. You have internet on here, right? Okay, so we can go to the... Yeah. No, no, you can just click on the link on the doc. This is not the doc. The slide you were on, yes, just click on. The slide that you were on. Yes. Get to the link. Yes. So you can click on it. So guys, I really want to apologize for the experience, right? So this was not the intent. The intent was to quickly run through the slides and go straight into the code lab and then get to build. But then again, I should have worked around contingencies. I mean, things like this happen. So apologies for that experience. I'm just going to rely, like I said, on the documentation resource. I'm still going to share the link. I think the docs are going to be, the slides are going to be made available. So if anyone still wants to like go take a look by themselves. But the base URL for where this resource exists is docs.somnia.network, right? So if anybody would want to take a look later, can you like increase it a bit? Command plus or Windows plus? No, like increase the display. How many minutes do I have? Okay, that's fine. Yeah? Yeah? Oh, okay. Oh, let me just, okay, that's fine. You can increase the font size, but the display has gone off. Okay, guys, you can turn the lights back on. I'm all out of excuses, right? It's a Windows system, so I don't know how to like increase font size on there. So if anybody can come help, right? No shades to Windows. Oh, is what? Okay, the streaming app, it's really not working. But if you go look at this resource, right? It's at docs.sonia.network, right? So the two critical things that I want to point out is, the three critical things that I want to point out is subgraphs rely on the GraphQL API standard, right? So basically, if you go to any blockchain, it doesn't have to be any blockchain at all, right? And then you find any piece of contract, smart contract that has possibly millions of events that have been emitted, and you figure that you can build a subscription paywall, right? Like a dashboard where users can, source the information and then pay to use it. So the practical thing, the thing that you want to do is that you want to take the smart contract address and then you can use any subgraph service. So for us at Somnia, we actually have two subgraph service providers. They are called Putify and then we have Omi. So the command to deploy a subgraph, it's a very simple GraphQL command, right? All you just have to do is type graph deploy, pass in an IPFS address, the smart contract itself. All of this is provided as an example in the code, right? So you don't need to do any form of installation on your end. You don't need to like do any form of imports for any library. All you just have to do is set up a simple project, deploy a subgraph, and then you will be given a particular URL, right? So with that URL, for the front-end engineers in the room, you can then build any user interface and then be able to pass any of the data that you want, from the particular smart contract where events are being emitted. So those are the three critical things. You deploy the subgraph, right? You take the URL, and then you go build out your UI. So many apologies. This was meant to be like a live demonstration of everything that I've been speaking about, and we could have gone through it together. But if you want to go take a look at the resource, it is at docs.somnia.network. So I'm just going to end here and see if you guys want to ask any questions or take some time to rest before the next session. I know that it's afternoon, and then lunch is going to be served soon, so you guys can get your energy back. So any questions, please? Oh, I'm actually surprised that there are questions. Okay. Abdul Latif. I don't think the mic is on. It's on. Oh, okay, okay.
When you say like for
Subgraphs, yes.
do you mean like deploy to some whole suite, or do you mean like it's deployed somewhere like the third party provider and you make it there for third party provider? Or if you have to deploy Subgraph on your own server?
Thank you very much. I really appreciate you asking that question because it opens up a loophole in my explanation, right? That means that I didn't break down everything that I said very well. So Subgraph services are provided by third-party providers, right? So like I mentioned, we have two that we work with. They are called Protofire, and then there's Omi. So you can think of them like I want to say an AWS of some sort, right? Where you have an instance set up, right? And then you're able to like connect to your instance. So these providers, they provide what is similar to an instance where you can like have your subgraph that you have deployed live, right? And then you don't have to like provision anything yourself. You just have to make use of their service, right? So when I say you deploy the subgraph, that means you deploy it to those third-party providers. And then for every subgraph that you deploy, it's actually for one smart contract. So that way, they give you an API to connect to that smart contract, and then you're able to ingest all of that data. Thank you very much for that question, man. Yeah, you want to go, Divine?
Okay, mine is not like, it's not a question here, but and we found that
Oh, awesome.
you need seller file, or you need a multi-chain blockchain infrastructure. So we run RPCs, and we're doing a beta test like next month, and we're doing our RPC and indexing solution. So right now we index data like multi-chain indexing. We are indexing across events across DeFi segments like NFTs, lending protocols, P2P staking, taxis, anything I think of, and then we are adding, as we're doing, we have Solana, Hyperliquid, ETFs too. So we've been doing this since December 2024, and yeah, we've been doing a beta test soon. So if it's something you want to leverage, we've done most of the hard work. We have the data infra, whether historical or real-time data, and we are looking at like millisecond latency, like indexing time. So we use AWS for as our cloud provider. So but then we create this indexing solution from scratch. We can use like the graph solutions and all. So with something you're interested in.
Sorry, do you need beta testers in the room?
Yeah.
Do you have a form link that you can share?
Yeah, right now, we're more like doing a survey right now.
Okay.
But you can follow us on, we've not been posting on Twitter, but we want to start. So you can follow us on Twitter, then you see our updates. It's Sellerfi on Twitter.
How do you spell that?
CELERFI, Sellerfi.
CELERFI.
Yeah.
So if it's not much of an ask, right? If it's not much of an ask, guys, there are like about 20-25 people in this room, right? And I'm all about being a part of people's successes, right? Because you never know when it's going to be your turn. So Divine worked up the courage to like do a mini pitch to the room. Please, I don't think it's much of an ask. I mean, it's one follows, but when you amass it together, that's going to be 25 to 30 follows. So if you can, it's Selify on X. I mean, it wouldn't hurt your following if you just add one more to it. Please. Thank you. Thank you, Divine. Yeah, Simi? Yeah.
CELERFI.
CELERFI.
Yeah, Simi?
FER.
Okay,
Okay.
we'll take one more question. Thank you. Hello. So, I'm a Web2 person, but I recently want to start learning about it. Now, you mentioned events, right? When you deploy the Subgraph.
The smart contract.
So, the Subgraph ingests data from the smart contract,
Yeah.
right? And then when the data comes in, you can index it, label it, and then make it query
Yes.
for other people. The question I want to ask is something like what they are doing, right? It sounds similar, right? The question I want to ask is, those events, are they emitted like something like browser events, like JavaScript events, or they are more like a web kind of event? Because I am coming from the Web2 background, right? So usually when I hear this on-chain, off-chain, I try to link it to what I'm already familiar with,
Yeah.
to build like a mental model. So can you please explain that part more?
Yes. Thank you. Thank you for that question, Simi. And if you didn't get an opportunity to be in the room when Simi was speaking earlier, kindly go watch that video when it goes live on the YouTube. So regarding that question, yeah, they are more like webhooks, right? Because they carry payloads basically, right? So they are more like webhooks. So with blockchains, take for instance a transfer activity. Say I want to send a token for myself to you. So I write a function in Solidity, and the function basically calls transfer, right? So I transfer one token for myself to you. But in that function call, I add what is called an event. So what the event basically carries, it's a payload that specifies who is sending it, who is being sent to, and then the time that it's sent and all other information. So with comparing against Web2, it is more like webhooks, actually. So the thing about events is that when they are emitted, they are queryable, right? So the state of the blockchain changes, and then that an event is sort of like a signature that says that when this particular activity happened, this was the accompanying event or whatever it says that is added to that function call. So that is what we use subgraphs to ingest and make queryable.
Okay, thank you very much.
I think, can we just take, sorry, Micah, can we just take question from Ifeolu and Fuad? Okay, yeah. Yeah.
So I wanted to
Just
ask,
one.
like,
Okay.
the platforms like, say, Analytics, and probably Siri, like, that provide analytics, do they make use of software or they just index the data?
Yeah. So Dune Analytics just injects data directly. All you just have to do would be to give them access to your ROPC service, and then they would make use of its cores to like do that themselves. So they don't need to use a subgraph service. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you very
Thank you.
much, Emmanuel.
Thank you, guys.
Round of applause.
Thank you for staying to the end and not slipping off.
Yeah.